Welcome to the Two Ravens podcast, where two people sit down and chat about their minds and their thoughts, specifically their unique perspectives on the life that they're living. Today, we're going to be digging into Reese's mind, which is I'm very excited for. How are you doing today, Reese?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, Bryn. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've chatted a little bit on X specifically. I know you're from Minnesota, all that kind of stuff, but skipping past the first little, the tell me a bit about yourself question, which is feels like
Mm.
a job interview. I hate that question so much. We're gonna start with where did you grow up, and how do you think it has impacted your life and where you are today?
Cool. I like that. Um, so rural Minnesota, up north, not near the Twin Cities or anything like that. So I grew up there. I'm still living here, and I think that really gave me sort of an enclosed perspective because there's not a lot of people around me. Like everybody in my grades growing up were just white people, just like me, growing up in the country. Which it surrounded myself in kind of one specific stereotype of people, not so much stereotype, but just type of people. And I didn't see a whole lot. So a lot of stuff that I heard growing up was just get yourself a job, go to college if you want. Like, if you're going to be successful in this town, you go to college and move away, or you work in the trades.
Yep.
That's just what it is around here. So that's all I heard. And I have four generations above me that do drywall plastering. And I was like, I'm the fifth generation. And I was like, I that cannot be me. But I had it in my head growing up, like if I'm gonna be successful, this is just something, some kind of business that I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to just go plaster drywall for the rest of my life. That's just how I'm gonna be successful. And luckily, I grew up where I had really good friends around me, and we always supported each other and stuff. And when I found my online stuff, like online business, I found Dan Co on YouTube, went down like self improvement, all that stuff. So I talked to them about it, and they were like, yeah, this is awesome. This is a great path, get out of just doing something normal.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, rural Minnesota, do you plan on escaping rural Minnesota, or what's your current plan for that?
Yeah, it's it's a great place. I want to be here when I grow up. Like when I have kids, I will raise them around here. I just don't see somewhere where that's not like it's not possible, because I love it here. It's a great area, but yeah, I definitely have to get out, just especially for the winter time. I'll be a snowbird and go move down somewhere nice like Phoenix or Austin or Miami or something like that in the winter time, and then I'll come back in the summers up to Minnesota. But yeah, I just want to travel the world, even if it's not leaving permanently, for sure. Just seeing some other stuff, because like I said, around here everyone's the same, and that's not a bad thing at all. Like, I like that everyone's the same because I can go anywhere I want and get along with people. So it's really nice in that regard. So it's not bad. It's just different than a lot of other places. There's so much to go see.
Yeah, for sure. There definitely is a lot to go see. And regarding where you've grown up and everything, have you felt any drawbacks regarding who's around you in like pursuing online business, being like a fifth generation potential drywall
Yeah.
plaster and stuff? Have you ever felt a drawback from that?
Not so much. I keep to myself a lot. So I'm just 18. I'll graduate high school in a month or two or something. I don't even know. I take online classes, so
Oh,
I
okay.
can pretty much do whatever I want. I have so much free time. I have one class to just finish up right now in the next month or two. So I just kind of keep back to myself. So that way, like, I don't have to worry about any of those potential drawbacks, which I don't think I'd have because, like I said, I've got really great supportive friends around me, and also my family's always been really awesome there for me, very caring and loving and supportive. But I just keep it to myself more to avoid any potential drawbacks.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Regarding graduating high school, do you? I know we mentioned a waiter job. I believe is that like a in between road for you, or do you plan on doing X full
Yeah.
time?
Yeah, I do not want to be a waiter for too long.
For sure.
Yeah, something part-time to get me by, so I don't just look like I'm sitting at home all the time doing nothing. Well, actually, in reality, I'm working online. I'm getting on podcasts and writing newsletters and stuff like that. So yeah, something part-time, and it's good for social skills, get me out of the house and stuff like that. So it'll be great so I can work part-time, but then also I'll have free time to still like work on my business and develop myself.
Yeah, that's a great mindset with that. I know commonly on like online business, everyone says like go all in on online business, like don't have a 9 to 5, and it's like you can use it as
Yeah.
the proper leverage if you do it correctly,
Yeah.
for sure.
Because if you don't, it's just stupid.
Right.
Because that I know I'm all for optimism, right? But you can't just lie to yourself. If you go all in on business, it's probably going to fail. I don't want to say probably, but I think I saw something like 95% of startups fail or something like that. And I know like this isn't really a startup necessarily, but yeah, like businesses fail. There's a reason not everybody's a billionaire. You don't want to just leave your job no matter what as soon as you hear of something good. You know, you have to be smart and like use a little bit of critical thinking, not just 100% positivity and optimism.
Right. That crack cocaine optimism that you see everywhere nowadays.
Yeah.
That's awesome. As a kid, kind of transitioning, as a kid, where was there anything you oddly enjoyed? And if so, has that translated into what you do now with online writing?
Yeah, so that's something I've kind of been working on lately, actually. So I don't have a set in stone answer, but something I found that I really liked was video games. And I know a lot of young people my age or guys, but some girls, but guys especially, all like video game addicts, you know? And they just, a lot of people get so guilty about playing video games. And I did too, because I was addicted. So I completely cut it out for like 2 or 3 months, didn't play anything, and now I'm getting back into them. But I found like throughout my childhood, there was 3 games that I played a ton, and that was like Madden, NFL football, and it was Skyrim, The Elder Scrolls 5, and Minecraft. And I've kind of taken bits and pieces from each of these games and kind of applied them to the work I do now. So Madden, I wouldn't even go in and play the football games. I would just make trades and build up my like players and try to
Yeah.
get them to the 99 overall. And I've kind of found that can relate to like coaching and helping people and finding human potential because I've always loved human potential. And that's what it was in the Madden games. And now I'm trying to see that in other people and help other people do that same thing. So it's kind of like finding the 99 overall in like real people now in real life instead of in the video game. And for Skyrim, I was talking to a friend about this, and that one I couldn't figure out. I was like, I don't know, you just do quests and like kill dragons and shit. I don't know what you do. And he was like, it's a free, completely open world and you get to build the exact character you want. Like you can be like a big bulky warrior, you can be like sneaky and get around, or you can use magic. You can build the exact type of life you want, and the world's all the same. So I really like that because another thing is freedom. You get the freedom. You can live whatever life you want in Skyrim, and that's what I'm trying to do. And I help other people with a little bit of that, like online too. So then the third was Minecraft, and that is just complete creative expression.
Oh
You
yeah.
can literally do whatever you want, and it's just pure creativity. So yeah, those 3 things, 3 video games, like from my childhood, I've really found have there's some synchronicities between those games and what I do now.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you said you did feel guilty for a long time. I think most people with a video game addiction do. I know I did. Do you still
Mm-hmm.
partake in playing video games every once in a while, or is it something that you've really funneled into just online writing?
Yeah, so I did completely cut it out for a month or two because like I was addicted. I couldn't get to do anything else because I would just focus all on the video games. But now I'm actually kind of using them as a tool rather than just a way to waste time. It's after I'll get all my work done for today, and I've been really disciplined. So once I get the work done for the day, I do my networking, I get my exercise and stuff, and it'll get later. Maybe I'll throw on a video game or something like that. But what I'll do is I'll have a notebook. I've got one of these like flip notebooks right here, and I'll set it next to me, like so it's right there in the corner of my eye, and I can always see it. So that way I can kind of spark some of those shower thoughts, ideas, and I'll write them down. So I'll do that sometimes, or I'll listen to podcasts and kind of do the same thing because I can't just like sit and watch a podcast on a screen. I've got to be listening to it while I'm exercising, or I do that a lot when I'm working out, listen to a podcast, and I'll play video games with podcasts on.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I really admire that because so many people dog on video games, and it's I don't think it's that bad. I mean, you watch people watch Netflix. I mean, it's same thing, different concept. But that's really cool the way
Yeah.
that you tied those in. Kind of reminds me of Jack Moses's framework, honestly. The way I don't know if have you gone through his primer?
Yeah, I have. I was actually in his cohort program, and part of that is going back and seeing like what your childhood obsessions were and stuff like that, and seeing how they could relate. So that's where I stumbled across figuring out kind of where my Skyrim video games related now. I had the Madden before, but yeah, so that was really great, a great tool, and he kind of showed me, which I think he got from Naval, if I remember right, but I don't know if I do.
That's super interesting. Regarding human potential, I know you said Madden. Is there anything else that's really gotten you obsessed with human potential outside of Madden?
I I try to see it in myself a lot. Like I'll see other people who have done like really cool things, you know. For example, I'll look up to like Tom Brady. I've always loved the best and the best of people. Like I love watching Tom Brady. I don't watch golf, but if I did, I know that I'd be looking up like Tiger Woods clips. And there's sprint car racing, which is dirt track, and my favorites are always like the best racers. You know, when like Tom Brady and great racers, when they win, people boo them, but like I'd cheer them on, and I loved watching like those people. And then like with Dan Coe, he's the best creator there is in terms of depth and ideas and like content creation. So I look up to him, not in a way that like idolizes him, but in a way like, wow, that could be me. So I try to look at these people who are the best and see that like that is possible for humans, and I can be that for myself. I don't just have to be like some normal guy.
Yeah, that's oh man, that's really cool. So regarding like Dan Cohen and all that kind of stuff, who
Yeah.
is who do you enjoy combining to create that ideal self? Like give me five names or so of who is your ideal self in like a mixture, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I've never like looked up to people and been like, that's who I want to be. It's more of, in a way, like I look up to people and say, I can be at their level. But if I did have to say, I love Dan Coe's depth and ideas. Kieran Drew, I've always looked up to him because of, he's a big like relationships guy. Like he has like, I don't know how to put it, but him and his audience, I feel like they just have a closer relationship than a lot of other creators and their audiences. So I've loved that about Kieran Drew, and he's just super personable, like charismatic guy. So I liked him, and then I've always loved Jordan Peterson too, and I don't know what it is about him, but I think it's just more like the brutal honesty. Like he'll just tell it as it is, and he'll articulate it in like such a way that nobody else can.
Yeah, for sure. What how did you find Jordan Peterson? I recently stumbled upon him going through the whole X space and everything, but man, I
Yeah.
love his work. So how did you find him and what's been your favorite takeaway from
I don't even know how I found him. I couldn't tell you at all. And I'm completely serious, but I don't watch him a whole lot. Uh I've just read his book 12 Rules of Life, and I've got all his other ones downloaded. I'll just have to get into those still. But the biggest takeaway from him, or my favorite takeaway, I love in his 12 Rules for Life, one of the rules, I don't remember the number, but is tell the truth or at least don't lie. And I really like that one because there's not enough truth in the world. And I think when he says like, or at least don't lie, that's a little like humorous, you know, but there is a difference between not telling the truth, or there is a difference between not lying and telling the truth, I think, because not lying you can do intentionally, you know, and telling, or I mean unintentionally, and telling the truth you have to do intentionally, whereas not lying can kind of be a mistake in a way. And I really think that that's such a great rule because, like I was saying, there's not enough truth like in the world. People don't people don't want to tell the truth, and I guess that goes directly relates to like I've loved him for his brutal honesty. You know, he just tells the truth, and he's not going to lie to you about like the way things are. And I've always respected that because so many people will hold back because I don't know what it is why people hold back if they think others like they're scared of what others are going to think about them or they don't want to put themselves out there too much, which yeah, I don't know, but I think something about like truth, the world needs truth like now more than ever.
Mhm. For sure. So, what makes you say now more than ever regarding truth? Where do you think the world lacks, and how do you think we can be more truthful?
Yeah, so I think now more than ever because so many people want you to think what they think rather than think what the truth is. And that sounds political, but it goes so much further than just politics because obviously it's in politics. That's all politics is politics. There is no truth no matter what side, or even if you're in the middle, it's going to
Yeah.
be hard to find truth there because everyone wants you to agree with what they say. And you see that even in the same parties, like two people in the same party will get in a fight because they just want you to agree with what they say rather than what that guy says, even though you're both right or both wrong. It doesn't matter. But yeah, that also goes to just general ideas. Nobody wants to be wrong, so everybody wants you to agree with what you think because you just have to validate and like qualify yourself. Well, not you or yourself, but they have to qualify themselves so then they feel better about themselves. And when you just strive for more like pure truth, that's where all the good happens because that's what's real.
Mhm. Definitely. And I think that that reminds me of like what is good and what is bad. In all reality, we don't know what's good and what's bad. We just our own perspectives make up what is good and what is bad. And so
Yeah.
everyone has their own definition for it, and it's like you're not right. You're just that's what you think is good, and I respect that. You know, things like that.
Yeah. And that's the toughest part for some people is you think about like morals. That is what is right and what is wrong. But the issue with that is everybody's morals are different. There's not one like book of morals that tells you what is right and what's wrong. It doesn't like underline, highlight, and put a star by it, you know? So that's the toughest part is accepting that everybody's morals are different. And like I can be right and you can be right even if we're saying the complete opposite things.
For sure.
That's just how we like that's just our perspectives on things.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of I think you have a newsletter relating to like spirituality and things, and it comes down to I know up in the Midwest it's often very common to see people in the church, but everyone sees the church and the Bible so differently. So it's like who's right and who's wrong, and it's now like so common to fight about the most unnecessary things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of just similar to politics too. Religion gets that way. You're
Yeah,
saying the same things, but the people just fight because it's not their thing.
right.
Yeah, I wasn't raised in the church, so I didn't have that kind of like super hyper religious perspective. And I think that's why spirituality stuff and kind of like creating my own religion in a sense with the spirituality, I think that's why it made it a little easier for me that I wasn't raised in the church. I've always believed in God and still do, but not like following the Bible word for word, you know?
Mhm. Right. So tell me a bit about that, creating your own religion. What does that look like for you, and where do you see it taking you?
Yeah, it's something I've really been trying to discover, and I've never put it into words before, but hmm, it really does relate around truth. That's a big part of it, and just kind of my truth. I used to always think like when people say my truth, they're just making excuses because they can't form a good argument, and which is partly true. But I've kind of found that you don't need an argument for anything. I listened to Nick Sweeney, like Bass Bra, he used to go by on a podcast, and he was like, "You don't need reasons." He's like, "It's okay if I just say, oh yeah, it came to me on a walk. You know, that can be your argument." And so it's really been about just opening up and not being afraid of anything. Like just be fearless. A little mantra I had a couple weeks ago was like, be a fearless, focused fighter. And that sounds like I'm about to go into battle when I'm just like sitting in my car about to go for a walk or something like that, but it's just be fearless, meaning don't be afraid to do something new or outside of your comfort zone. That's what the fearless part means. And then focused, do whatever you do to the best of your ability, like at 120% effort. Just be focused on one thing. And then be a fighter is don't give up and do the thing right. Do the thing how you say you're going to do the thing. So I guess I haven't created my own religion for myself quite yet, but yeah, I like be a fearless, focused fighter, following those like 3 steps that I just said. That's kind of what it's been so far.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think it's definitely a process and a journey, and I can't wait to see how that
Mm-hmm.
evolves for you. I think it's
A
the exciting
lifelong
part,
journey.
right? Something
Uh-huh.
that never ends. I'll expect a book on it one day, I'll tell you.
I hope so. I've always dreamed of, like, since I was a kid, I was like, I could be an author. That would be so cool. That's my goal. And I was thinking about that the other day, and I used to, when I was young, before I could like write, I couldn't like hold a pencil or spell or anything like that. I would tell my mom these stories and have her write them down on like pieces of paper, and then I'd draw pictures for them, and she'd staple them together, and I'd like hand them out at my like kindergarten class and put them in the bookshelves and stuff like that.
That's awesome, dude. That's a post. You need to write about that. I didn't know that. That's really
I know
cool.
I should write about it. I haven't thought about that.
That is.
I
That's
always have these things. I'll be in conversations and I'll tell a little story like that, and they're like, "You need to write about that. How haven't you written about it yet?" We're like, "I don't know. I just thought it was cool."
no, exactly. I think Dan Coe has a podcast where one of his questions, like to finding out content, is what is 10 things that are just normal to you. So like,
Mm,
I think mine was like 9 months of winter is normal, when in reality that it sucks. Winter is
yeah.
terrible. Or like the concept of living in negative 30-degree weather is normal to me, but many people have
Yeah.
never even seen a flake of snow. And so you take
Hmm.
those things and Kieran Drew has like the crank the dial, turn them up, write about it. You used to be an author as a kid, so be an author now. You already are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that. Yeah, same for me. Like negative 30 degrees for 8 months a year. Like that's just a normal thing up
right.
here. And yeah, that's a great idea, because so much of what is normal, or even when you level up, like the baseline stuff that people need to get to your level, it's just normal to you now and you don't even think about it. Like my morning routine is so dialed and I don't even think about it anymore. I wake up, I chug water, I do like push-ups and jump squats real quick, and I brush my teeth, journal, and then straight to work. Everything's prepared. But it takes people that don't have a morning routine months to get to that point. That it's just something I forget about. And I did a YouTube video on this yesterday.
I listened to it. I did. That's actually the next
Mm,
question is what's your, outside of your little morning routine, like how does your day look? I know you exercise, things like that. What does the structure
mm.
look like?
Yeah, I like that. So the morning routine I just outlined, open my computer and I just get straight to work. And usually that takes me 3 to 5 hours some days, kind of depending on what there is to do, but a ton of writing. Like I'll write the newsletter, the long form posts, threads, and then tweets once a week. And then just more into about an hour, maybe 2 hours of project work. So right now I'm putting together a website, and in the next week or so, whenever the website's done, we'll see if I can figure it out fast enough. But then I'll be working on the ebook. So that'll be super cool, about just kind of holistic personal development and kind of getting to like past that normal stage where everything is just normal to you, even though it's a level higher than most other people have. But yeah, so 2 hours content creation, maybe an hour or two project work, and then I go straight to the gym after that, or I'll just go for a run outside and then get home, and then I allow for free time. So in the morning, I schedule it very strictly, like down to the 15-minute mark, pretty much. I do it all in Google Calendar. So I'm exactly on track. I'm going to get everything done. And that way I know it's all going to get done. And then once I'm done exercising, I have free time for the rest of the day to do whatever I want. So that way I don't have to like feel like I'm constantly working or get overwhelmed or burn out or anything like that. And some days I don't like it or I'll get mad like I could have done so much more today. But also like I've gifted myself this free time to enjoy life right now. Otherwise, I'd just be like full of stress and anxiety trying to build a business that I know takes time. So in that free time, I'll just go hang out with friends or talk to family, go for walks. I'll just watch YouTube videos, not even about like business stuff. I try to get away from it. I'll just watch some gaming stuff or play video games like we talked about earlier, you know. So I just really try to chill out or play guitar. I think I've got it in the background of my camera here.
Oh, sweet.
But
I see it.
so I'll do that, write songs sometimes, but that takes a ton of creativity, so I try not to if I need to be creative the next day.
Right. That's really awesome. How is that going to work once you do start working part time? How are you going to kind of fit that into your schedule to enable you to be creative?
Yeah. So that it'll just take out a little bit of my free time, but I don't see it being a huge deal. Maybe I'll end up working a little bit more or cut some time out of my project work in the morning and maybe follow it in the evening time or nighttime because I always get these bursts of inspiration in the night and then like 15 minutes later I have to go to bed to hit my 8 hours of sleep, which like I make sure I get, even though I'm sure I could sacrifice it every now and then, but I think I could help capitalize on those like nightly bursts of inspiration and work on some project work or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. That's really awesome. And regarding your building the website, are you doing that from the ground up, or are you using like a built for you like what's it called software?
Yeah, I'm using WordPress and Elementor right now, and no template. I downloaded one and I was like, it's so much harder to just change everything to how I want it. So I'm just going to a blank white screen. So I'm working on that right now, getting the homepage almost done. But yeah, it's definitely been like an adventure trying to build the website so far because I've never done anything like that before.
That's really awesome. And are you just going to include like your links to everything on there, kind of like Dan Co's, I'm guessing, with like the newsletters and things like that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a pretty normal creator website, newsletter sign up, and then I want to have my whole blog on there. That's the biggest reason I'm doing it. Is I want to have the blog. I don't want to do it through ConvertKit's website that they give you. It was like I just want it to be my own, you know. And then I think just having my own personal website should add a little authority to the brand too. And then yeah, just have links for the YouTube videos, podcasts, newsletters, all that stuff. So yeah, pretty normal creator website.
Yeah, that's really cool. So have you posted anything about that on your Twitter and the idea of like building in public? I don't think I've seen anything on it, but
No, I might have mentioned it to a few people, but no. That's one thing I know building in public, it's so valuable and it can like bring people along with the journey and stuff like that. But I've never been one to build in public before. I'm like, I'm just gonna sit down and I'm gonna just focus and I'm gonna get it done. And then I just completely forget to like share what I'm doing and stuff like that. So that's something I could definitely got to get better at is like building in public rather than like building hard for a week and then making one post about it and forgetting about it forever.
for sure, definitely. In regards to like online business, when did you start online business?
Hmm. So that was about last February. I opened my Twitter account, and I don't call it a business yet because I don't make money. I just call it my online brand. But yes, it is building a business over time. Um, so yeah, last February I opened my Twitter account, and then I kind of worked really hard on that, but didn't see any progress. You know, I grew to like 400 followers or something like that in like 6 months or 7 months. I don't even know. But then in July and August and September, I just completely quit. I was like, kind of late summer. I was like, I'm done with this. I'm just not gonna do it anymore. Like I'm sick of it. So I'd post a tweet here and then, or here and there. But the one thing that I really wanted to work on was the music and stuff. So I'd wake up every morning and I'd write a song right away. So I've got about like 50 songs that I've written just sitting in a notebook. I was like, I want to do music. But then I was like, I don't know like anything on guitar. I can't solo or improvise it. I just know a few chords and I'd say I'm like lower intermediate level. And I was like, and I'm not a great singer either. And I was like, I either need to have like great singing, great lyrics, or great guitar skills. and you pretty much have to pick two, and then you have a chance of making it as a musician. And I was like, I don't like these odds. And always in the back of my mind, I was like, I know I can make online business work. I loved writing, and I know I'm good at it. So that then I came back to online business stuff in maybe like December or January. So then the last few months, I've got back on here and I was like, I'm doing it right this time. I'm gonna write, I'm gonna network with people, and I'm gonna like get systems and not let myself burn out and just focus. So yeah, it's been a little over a year now in total.
Awesome. So how do you plan on monetizing like the your brand where you're currently at?
Yeah, so I want to start coaching on some of the personal development stuff um fairly soon, because I've seen like how crazy it is just for my own life, and I know I can bring that into other people's lives, and that goes back to helping them find their human potential and like being at that higher level rather than just the normal level. So, yeah, coaching soon, and then I've also like considered ghostwriting a lot for other people because I haven't looked into it a whole lot yet, but it just seems super intriguing to me. So that's why I asked you a little bit about it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no problem. I It's definitely a process, but I really enjoy it, and I think it's a great place to start because you are literally handed all of these ideas and frameworks, and you just write it. It's you just like categorize it for them. That's all you do. It's a lot of fun
Yeah.
though. I mean, my one client, he's amazing. He's still a free client because I haven't gotten him results, but I do think it's a great like starting point, and then you can slowly level up from there. But I also think coaching is a great place to start because you get the breakdown of everyone's problems because they're asking you all of these
Mm-hmm.
questions, and so it gives you basically your target audience's main problems. So I think
Yeah.
that's those are
And
two
one thing,
great places. Go ahead.
yeah, one thing for the target audiences that I like love thinking about is like everyone says your past self, but I look at like my little brother or my younger cousins or the my best friends that I hang out with who are like my age and stuff have very similar life experiences, but they're not like higher up on that level, like conscious, like so more spiritual conscious level, and also just basic personal development level. So I love looking at those people because you can just see them in real time and you're like, yep, that's exactly who I'm targeting when I'm writing online. And then you just apply what they do, see what they do, talk to them, see what problems they have. And then, yeah, same thing for your target audience research. So, yeah, coaching is going to be super awesome. I'm looking forward to getting into that.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I didn't even think about like looking at who's around me.
Mm-hmm.
When do you plan on getting into coaching? Is there anything holding you back from it, or is that what the website's going to be?
Yeah, that the website will include that, and then just within a month or two, hopefully soon. I always say like my monthly goals, I'm gonna make money online this month. I'm gonna have somebody to coach, and then I never do it. So it's something that in a way I've been a little bit fearful of that success because like the business side of things, I don't know how to handle with money or like market super well or sales. I know the basics around all those things, but I don't know how to do it. And it's just outside of my comfort zone. Into so once I get past that, then I'll be good to go, and like I'm sure I'll fly by and build a business from there. But yeah, it's just getting outside of my comfort zone right now, and then it'll work out. I know it will.
Yeah, that's awesome. What comfort zones have you stepped out of as you've stepped into online business?
Oh, tons. I didn't know how to step out of the comfort zone before I started online stuff or just personal development. Like I didn't ever want to go into the gym because I was like, I don't know how to lift. I lifted a little bit. I was on the football team in high school, so that's all I knew. I knew some basic lifts, but that you're just with all your football buddies and nobody's really trying. Well, not us, anyways. I guess the guys that actually played and started games, they were actually trying, but yeah, nobody else cared. So I didn't know how to lift. So I was super scared to get in the weight room, and then I was also super scared to share my thoughts online and write and like have authority. Kind of that imposter syndrome type of thing. But I had to step out of that if I wanted to start creation. And then another thing I've been working with very recently is just getting over like fears, doing things I don't want to do. That goes back to the fearless focused fighter. Like just be fearless. Don't have any fears. So I've kind of remembered that. And whenever something clicks in my mind, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm scared. Like I do not want to do this thing. Something clicks and I know I'm like, okay, well I have to go do it now, no matter what it is, So it's just like little stuff, dumb stuff like that too. But if you feel like you have to hold back, that's like my sign to go do it anyways. So that's the biggest thing I've been working on lately is just be fearless.
That's really awesome. That's inspirational, honestly. And regarding your ebook, is that kind of going to be in your ebook, or what is your
Yeah,
ebook going to contain?
that'll be a part of it. I have it lightly outlined, but I actually might scrap the whole outline because I think the last couple of weeks I've came across some like really good ideas and I've had a lot more depth and stuff behind some of my ideas, like sort of around that personal religion, being fearless. So that's definitely going to be a part of it. But also I want it to be more just a baseline like personal development book that you can hand to like anybody on the street and they'll just start developing their lives. So I might save the more in-depth stuff for like a second ebook or something like that, or maybe a paid ebook because this one's going to be free. I want it to be free so anybody can easily get into this stuff because I think it's that important. So yeah, maybe I'll leave the more in-depth stuff for a second paid ebook. I'm just coming across this stuff now, but the first free one, I kind of have it in three sections, and that's physical, so like eating well, getting exercise, all that stuff, and I don't remember exactly the other two, but one was more like mindfulness, meditation, journaling, like being in touch with yourself, understanding yourself more, and then the other stuff. I think the other section was like building or like be doing something and your vision and your goals and be working towards something. So I've got it split into three sections like that right now.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Why are you going to scrap it? That sounds like a solid outline. So what makes you want to scrap it?
Um, make it a little more cohesive, I think, because the way that I just like outlined it, it would just be one big book that really could just be split into three separate books. So I think just making it more cohesive and making it more one, it would still revolve around the same type of things, but making it more worth being like one book rather than three separate things.
Yeah, for sure. How long have you been on this like personal development journey?
Yeah, so hmm, last February I opened the Twitter account, so it must have been last January because it wasn't too long. What happened was I've kind of been on it for a while actually. In 2022, I broke my ankle and I was like skiing, just being a dumbass. I don't ski. I don't like skiing, but I went with my friends one time and then I broke my ankle because just the guys got together and we were dumb. So I was like super depressed. I've always been happy and like, how could you be depressed? Like the world is so great. But I was just laying in bed. I couldn't walk. I couldn't hang out. I couldn't go do anything. The most I could do is like hobble my way into the weight room with the football guys and only do arms for like 2 months, which was actually really awesome though. But I was just laying in bed. I was stuck laying in bed all day and I was just like depressed, nothing to do, so bored. I felt useless. And there was this book on my shelf that I got as a gift called The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. So I picked that up and I read it. And that was like the first self improvement thing I've ever seen in my life. And that kind of like set the belief like I can be more than just normal. I can go do something cool. I can like live a happy life and do cool stuff.
Right.
And then that kind of sat with me for a little while. And then it was about January last year. So probably 10 months had passed between when I broke my ankle and then January last year. I don't remember exactly. But then I was like, okay, I like I want to do something. I don't want to just work a normal job. I want to build something. I want to start some kind of business for myself. So I just looked up like the basic how to make money online and found like went through all like the BS like drop shipping and Amazon fulfillment or whatever it is. And I was like, it all seems so scammy. I didn't want to do it. I just didn't like it at all. And then somewhere in the comments of one of those videos, I saw someone recommending Dan Co. And I don't know where it came from or anything like that. I was like, what is somebody watching drop shipping like listening to Dan Co for, you know? Like once you realize what Dan Co has, you don't want any part of drop shipping.
Right.
So I heard of Dan Co, and then I went down the rabbit hole, started a new Twitter account. I didn't want to use my old one because I was like, I don't know who follows me on there. I only had like 20 followers on my old Twitter account, and it's deleted now, so nobody has to go look for it. But yeah, started a brand new Twitter account, and then yeah, started writing.
That's really awesome. And has writing like helped you articulate and clarify a lot of ideas going through your brain?
Oh yes, 100%. Because before I didn't really have ideas because I didn't the writing forces you to have ideas, and before I wrote I never thought for myself. I just take whatever I heard from other people and be like, yep, that's good, that's cool with me. But yeah, the writing has forced myself to first have those ideas and then be able to put them into words. I wouldn't be able to speak like 90% of what I'm speaking right now if I'd never like written anything. And a lot of the stuff I've written about before, so I've kind of put together sentences. Like now it's not scripted what I'm saying, but since I've written about it, my mind just kind of like has those ideas in written form. So that way, see, I didn't have what I was going to say right here in written form, so I don't know how to say it. um, yeah. So when I put it in written form, my mind just kind of keeps that, so it's easier to speak because you write how you talk if you're a good writer.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And one of my current things that I've been trying to work through and write through is what are the three meta skills that you think are underutilized in today's age?
Mm, I like that. That's good. I think social skills is a huge one. And I'm not like a social skills expert or anything like that, but it's huge because if you can talk to anybody, then well, first you're just going to hear so many new ideas or and stuff like that. Because if I didn't have social skills, we wouldn't be talking right now because I just want to like sit at home and well, I am sitting at home, but I just want to sit in quiet and not do anything. And social skills, you can meet people and get their ideas, which you can like steal like an artist, you know, and make those ideas your own. But also you can just build relationships to get you places that you wouldn't be able to get before. So yeah, just social skills. It's as simple as meet anybody that you can and be useful to them and be interested in them. Like it's what's the book? How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's the only social skills book anybody needs ever. You know, you read that and like you're good at social skills. That's all it takes. Be useful and be interested in anybody that you want to talk to. And then I'm trying to think of the second or third meta skills. I think writing is such a big one because it can be applied in so many ways. Like we've already mentioned, it forces you to have your own ideas and think for yourself. And then it helps you articulate those ideas too. And then that's just like the two benefits for yourself, let alone the benefits for all the other people. Like you can persuade people and change other people's lives through writing. If I didn't see Dan Coe's writing, I would have like still been playing video games all the time and doing nothing. Like writing alone has changed my life. And then sharing my own writing too. I'm building a brand through writing. I'll eventually be making like a full-time income just through writing. So I think writing, you can't go wrong if you learn how to write because there's so many avenues to apply that skill.
For sure. Yeah, that's really good. I think that's two solid ones, I'd have to say. I know you mentioned How to Win Friends and Influence People, and then Schwartz. What book courses, or what book courses, what books, courses, or people do you currently admire that you would recommend for other people, whether it's in the beginning of your journey or now?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what I'm reading right now. Let me look up at my shelf. I mean, the magic of thinking big. That book is crazy. I mean, I'm probably very self-biased because that's the one that changed things for me. But yeah, that made me realize that like you can think big, just like the title says. I never know how to explain it better than the title. It's like thinking big is magical because like everything is positive if that's how you choose to see it, and the positivity is only ever going to benefit you.
Yeah, for sure. That's
And
positivity is
then
only ever going to benefit you. That is a great. I'm gonna quote you. You're a quotable man. That's for sure.
Thank you. I just off the top of my head. And then you asked about courses too, right?
Mhm.
So I've got Jack Moses has great stuff. His two free courses are absolutely insane. Like that's all you need. That the peak performance primer, that one is crazy for just getting your like lifestyle down. Once you get your lifestyle down, then you're at your peak performance, as the title says, to do whatever you want. Like I took that peak performance primer when in those kind of 3-4 months that I mentioned where I quit writing on Twitter and was just writing songs and stuff like that. And I still took that peak performance primer because I knew that like if your lifestyle is good, the rest of your life is going to just reflect off that and be even better than you already are at it. So I think that peak performance primer is definitely like something worth taking for anybody listening. And then Jack's paid stuff too. I'm in his or I was in his cohort over March 2024. So just last month actually ended a few days ago. That was super amazing. And if you can work with him one on one, that's going to be even better for you because not only does he help you with like the business and your writing stuff, it sounds like I'm just a salesman for him right now. This doesn't sound so good, but he helps you with the spiritual and alignment stuff because when you're aligned, that's when the business stuff gets easier for you too because you're in touch with yourself and you know what you want. And that's why I think creating your own religion is so important.
For sure. That's that's really inspiring. I love Jack's work as well. I recently found him, but yeah, I'll keep those in mind. I'll add um the thinking big one to my
Yeah,
endless
I'll
bookshelf.
send it to you. And then after this too, I'll go through my phone and send you some stuff I'm reading. And I know the people listening won't be able to see it then, but I just can't remember right now.
I get it. I'm reading so many titles all the time. I have like a bookshelf next to my desk and then a bunch sitting on that table back there.
Hmm.
It never ends.
I just get at any time I hear a book, I just buy it and it's on my phone. So like on my Apple Books app, you can just scroll for like 2 or 3 full pages of like books. And whenever I'm bored, I'll just go click on one. I don't try to read like front to start. I'll read like 4 or 5 books at a time, just whatever interests me.
Yep. No, I completely, excuse me. I completely am like the type of person who you don't need to read a book from the very front to the very back. Like I'm reading
Mm.
Flow, one of Dan's favorite books that he always recommends.
Oh yeah, I just
And
read that too.
it's it's a great book, but I could never sit down and read it from front to back. It's one of those ones that you kind of got to sit with for a little bit and like devour
Yeah,
it in
I know what you mean.
sections. Otherwise, you're just sitting
You
there and you're
can't be in
like,
flow if you're gonna read that flow book.
you really can't.
Yeah,
Like it's a hard book to read.
I had that one on audiobook, so
Okay.
in a way I was kind of forced to just listen to it in pieces. And yeah, I definitely think it helped because it's so dense. And I think that's why reading just parts at a time is important. If you're reading dense books that are actually going to like help you with content and ideas and stuff, is yeah, definitely giving them time to sit. But I used to be a guy like if I open the page, the first 2 pages of a book, I have to finish it because I just wasted my time with those 2 pages.
Yep.
And that sunk cost fallacy, like I've still read those 2 pages, whether I put down the book or whether I read the rest of it. I never understood that at first. I was like, well, I wasted my 2 pages. But yeah, you wasted time reading 2 pages anyways, but you have to feel free to just let that go because regardless, you can't change those 2 pages. You still read them. So if you're not interested, just put the book down. Or same
Right.
goes with anything in life, really.
Really, it does go with anything in life. I think Naval's a big one that taught me that because he just picks up a book, will read the middle of the book, and then if he's over it, he'll just put it down. And I always thought like, oh,
Yeah.
I thought you had to start from the beginning and go from there. But I
Yeah.
often catch myself in the library. I'll just like open up a random book, and I'm like, okay, I'm over it now. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's the best part. I think. Man, you're a fascinating guy. I think I could talk to you all damn day. There's so much, and I think I relate to you on a lot of levels because not a lot of people are from the Midwest. I think it's definitely a different mindset that you don't
Mm-hmm.
see very often up in the Midwest. It's a different
Yeah.
breed, I'd like to think. But
Which it's weird. I don't think of it that way yet because I haven't been around,
yeah,
Like everyone around me, like I said, it's just everyone around you is the same in the Midwest, pretty much, unless you're in the city.
No, for sure. I grew up in a very, very small town, and my first culture shock was Hawaii. I was like, there's people outside of the Midwest? This is crazy. And then I think Europe was the most groundbreaking thing for me. And afterwards, I was like, oh no, I have to get out. There's so much more to see in this world, and it's beautiful what you can find in just the most odd
Yeah,
places.
that's why I've got to go to Europe sometime. I've always loved the history there.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you can just be in a city and like buildings are like 1500 years old and like the United States is not that old
No,
anywhere near that old, you know?
no.
No matter what you see here, it's not that old. That's why I always thought like Europe was so cool,
Yep, Europe is cool. I
but
think
I've never been there yet.
you gotta go. I'll give you a bunch of recommendations. I spent a month there right after I graduated high school, and it was the best
Oh,
experience of my life.
maybe I'll have to do the same.
It's I
Did you go
recommend
alone?
it. No, I went with a friend, an ex-friend. But yeah, we traveled. We stayed in the UK for 2 weeks, and then the Grand Canaries for 2 weeks. And it
Mm,
was the
yeah,
most amazing experience. It was so much fun. I definitely plan on going back. Like
cool.
I'm going to Mexico in 3 weeks. I'm going to Hawaii
Mm,
again. I love Hawaii. Hawaii is amazing. But I think one place I really want to go is like Japan or China, just because their culture and their history goes so far back.
yeah,
It's
yeah, they have a
intense.
tons of history too.
Yeah. Like you read
Well, we'll
U.S.
have to
history
talk about
books,
traveling more,
for sure. It's travel
especially
is
Europe, because I want to go there.
yeah. You definitely will
What
have to.
about Southeast Asia? Have you thought about there?
I want to go everywhere. Yeah. I
Just everywhere.
just everywhere. If I can get on a plane there, we're going. Like when I go to Hawaii, I have this just inkling. I'm like, do I just fly to Korea? Do I just fly over there? It's
Yeah,
really bad. It's like a
it's
little
just a
travel
quick little
bug.
flight.
It's only across the ocean. It's fine. But yeah, no,
Yeah,
I have you thought about Southeast Asia? Is that somewhere that's kind of calling you?
I've just heard of a lot about it. No, it hasn't really called me. I mean, Europe, that's like my destination. Either that or maybe South America, like Argentina or Colombia or Costa Rica, somewhere there. That and then Europe. That those are the two places I think I'll be traveling next. But I have no plans. I have no idea when. But yeah, they've just been calling a little bit.
For sure. Yeah, they're amazing callings. You said Argentina. What about Argentina? I have a very odd fascination with Argentina as well. I've never been to South America, but well, other than Mexico, but Mexico's Mexico.
Yeah. I've never been to South America at all, not even Mexico. But something I think just hearing Jack Moses how that was where he moved to once he got out of the creator game and stuff. And since I've been on here, I mean, not as long, but almost as long as he has been, I've kind of seen like how he's grown and stuff like that. I've watched him growing up in the creator economy, you know, and he was like, that's the place he went, and he's just a college kid, like a couple years older than what I am right now. I was like, yeah, I could do that. So I think that's the first kind of like traveling, like, oh, I want to travel. That's like the first place I've ever heard of was when he went to Argentina. And also I've heard that it's super cheap there, so you make money online and then it doesn't have to be that much and you can live off of it in Argentina.
Yep,
So yeah, that's why. Nothing too crazy, but it's just calling, you know.
for
Some
sure.
places just call and you have to go. Follow that intuition.
Definitely. Regarding calling, I know you mentioned you see yourself moving to Austin. What's calling you to Austin, do you think?
Yeah. I I've talked to so many people that are there and it just seems like it's the place to be. And it's warm too. There's no 8, 9 month winters, and that'll be really cool. But it was really interesting. I saw Danny Miranda had a Twitter post, and he lives in Austin, and he used to live somewhere cold. I don't know where, but he was like, since I've been in the cold, I've averaged like 4 or 5 thousand more steps a day since he moved to Austin. Like he's just outside more. He just wants to be outside more, and that's something that I've loved. Like I just want to be outside, but when it's cold or cloudy and snow on the ground, I don't want to go outside, even though I still want to be outside.
Right.
You know, so just being somewhere warm is a big part of it. And then it seems like Austin is just the place to be. I was talking to a friend about this the other day. It's like it kind of used to be like Silicon Valley, you know, everybody lived there, and now Austin's kind of becoming that place in a way. like there's so many young people there, like around our age, and they're all like they all have big goals, not to just live a normal life. So that's why I think Austin is the place to be, and I see it growing. It already is growing,
Oh,
but
it's huge. It's exploding. I moved here not even 6 months ago. I moved to Austin, and it's been the best experience. I mean, I've met so many CEOs that I never thought I'd even like get to see in my entire life.
yeah,
I definitely recommend it. It's
yeah, it's some. I'll have a bit of traveling to do first, but yeah, Austin just seems like I just already see myself moving there. Like I told you a while ago, I just see myself moving there already. I can't explain why. I just will.
yeah. You say you have a bit of traveling first. What is in the next 3 years? Where do you see yourself traveling and doing?
Um, yeah, well, hopefully those three countries in South America that I mentioned, Costa Rica, Colombia, and Argentina. And then I definitely want to go around Europe a bit, uh, and more in the United States too. I haven't been to like anywhere in the West pretty much. Furthest west I've been is Colorado. So I definitely want to see more of that West Coast, like get it out in California. I don't think I'll like it, but I just have to see it. And Arizona, especially as a Minnesotan, I feel like it's like part of my duty to go visit Arizona and travel there because that's what everybody does. Is if you're in Minnesota, you go and visit Arizona all the time.
Everyone does. I feel like it's all that's
Yeah.
where all the snowbirds go. Heading to Arizona for the winter.
Yep. So it's just a part of my Minnesota nature that I will have to go visit Arizona, which I, who knows, maybe I'll like it. I was talking to another friend and he grew up in Minnesota too. Oh, and my other friend too, she grew up in Minnesota. Both him and her grew up in Minnesota, moved to Arizona, and they love it. So I was like, maybe I'll love it too.
Yeah, I have a bunch of friends who also moved to Arizona. They're like, "Ah, it's so awesome," and I'm like, "I couldn't do the desert. I love Arizona. It's a gorgeous state, but like monsoon season, I couldn't do it. All the rain,
Yeah.
it's
So
intense.
that's why I'll have to travel there. I'll find out for myself.
Definitely, 100%. Well, to close this up, what is one thought or memory that sits with you that you would like to leave for your audience?
Hmm, that's interesting. Here's the one off the top of my head. Um, is my grandpa always told me this, and I worked for him doing the drywall plastering and stuff, but he's like the one man I look up to the most. That's not like Huberman or Jordan Peterson or something like in the creator economy. He's the one I look up to the most, and he was like, if you're going to do something, do it right. Do it right the first time too. So if you want to do something, go into it 100%. That's the focused part of my fearless focused fighter. Do it at 100% the best that you can and just do it right and do it high quality and do it good. So yeah, super simple, but I mean super effective if you put it into practice and live by that, which I definitely think self-credited, but I think I have lived by that so far.
That's awesome, man.
Just don't
Thank you.
half-ass things.
Don't half-ass things. That's so big too,
Yeah.
especially like now
Uh-huh.
more than ever. Don't expect someone else to half-ass it for you too.
Yeah, exactly. Someone's got to cover the other half if you don't.
Right?
Yeah,
Oh,
go 100%. Be focused. Fearless, focused fighter.
fearless focus fighter. That's fucking amazing. Thank you so much, Reese, for coming on here. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.